Tap stop recording button.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to How We Met. This is part 2 in the series. So I hope you enjoy it. And I'm sorry if we kept you in suspense from last week's video, but that's how we do it. So we left off on when James came to meet me. So, how did you feel that night before? Oh, I'm bouncing on a ball. That's why.
I'm just bouncing so I don't feel left out. I don't have a ball. Well, there is another ball, but I don't feel like getting it.
That would be too much effort. How did you feel the night before you came and, like, the drive up?
Combination of things. One feeling I had was, is this going to be worth it? Am I just going to waste a bunch of time? 5 hours is so long to drive.
But we drove 14 to see your family.
Yes. You see, going back and forth 5 hours at a time repeatedly, I got a lot more used to driving longer distances.
He lived on the military base that he works at in the dorms, so his drive to work was like 5 minutes. So, yeah.
Nice.
Anyways.
So, the morning came. Well, before we go to the morning, did you want to talk about your feelings the night?
No, you can just go to morning and then I'll talk about it.
Morning came, got in the car, started driving up. It was a little chilly because it was like end of November, early December.
It was in early December.
And fun fact, she lived someplace that got more snow than where I lived got, which was...
It's still true to this day.
It was fun. I like snow.
My parents got more snow than we did. They even got snow last week. Or like 5 days ago or 6 days ago.
At the end of April.
Here's some snow.
But we drove up and it just sort of felt like a big, let's see what's going to happen. Uncharacteristically, I didn't really have a lot of thoughts or expectations. I was a drive of faith, I suppose you could say. It was one big, all right, I'm trying this. Let's see what happens. Help me out here.
So the night before, I was like, oh man, I should clean my house, but I need to do laundry. And I really didn't feel like doing either. So I just laid around and went to sleep. And then I woke up the next morning and my dad came and got me because I lived in an apartment and I didn't want to pay like $1.50 just to wash my clothes, plus whatever it takes to dry them. I don't remember because that was a long time ago. So I was like, do I go do laundry so I don't have stinky clothes in front of him? Or do I clean my house? So I chose to go do laundry. And I think I got Taco Bell on the way to my parents' house. I don't know why I ate Taco Bell for breakfast, because now that just sounds disgusting. But a lot of things sound gross to me right now. Anyways, so me and my dad were talking about it, and he's like, I hope this works out. Because I talked to a few other people on the site, but obviously nothing happened. He's like, if this doesn't work out with this James guy, I think you should just get off there. And I was like, yeah, I agree. So I did laundry. And then I got this text from James, and he's like, what's your address? And I was like, oh no, I'm not home yet. And I told him to go to the store by my house. And my mom had to go back to work, so she took me with my son and my little sister back to my house. And we were trying to hurry so James didn't have to wait, and she had to be back to work at a certain time. So my sister grabs my son out of his car seat as soon as we pull up, and I grabbed my clothes and we jumped out of the car, and my mom drove off, and we ran up to my door, which wasn't very far. And we got inside, and I was like, okay, I gotta go change my clothes because I look like crap. And so then I texted him my address, and he got there before I was done changing and stuff. So Yeah, I was kind of nervous. But, anyways, my sister opens the door.
I didn't know you were in such a rush up until I stepped in.
My sister opens the door and is like, hi. And
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt again. Insert. So I saw pictures of her online, and I knew that she was blind, and she had certain characteristics unique to her that gave that away. And so I knocked on the door, and the door opens, and I see this blind lady who
looks significantly different than me.
may have possibly been putting up doctored photos on her profile, but thankfully wasn't.
It was my sister. And so I yelled down the stairs, hold on! Do you know what I said? I was like, hold on! Something like, I'm almost done. So then, I came downstairs, and I met him. And then we went to Pizza Hut for lunch. Do you remember that?
Yes. And we haven't been since. I miss their stuffed crust.
Maybe we should go. And he learned at Pizza Hut. What did you learn about me? What do I like to drink?
Not Mr. Pibb, not Dr. Dazzler, but Dr. Pepper. Not Diet Dr. Pepper, not Cherry Dr. Pepper, not Dr. Pepper Zero, not Vanilla Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper.
Yes, I got a Dr. Pepper. And we got pizza. And actually, before we went to Pizza Hut, I had my son, I used the baby carrier. And so he got to watch me throw him on my back. And he offered to help me. But I had done it so many times by myself, I declined. Because I guess I'm stubborn. I don't know. So we walked to Pizza Hut because it wasn't very far from my house. And then we walked back to my house. And my sister was with us this whole time. And we hung out and talked. And then my other sister came over to meet me. And she is not blind. DeRose might be safer if she was. I'm just kidding if you're watching this. Anyways, she came over to meet James. And then James and I went to Brahms because I wanted a milkshake. Or I don't even know who brought up milkshakes, but we drove to Brahms. And then we went back to my house and ate our milkshakes. Okay, don't say the name of your hotel that you went to, because I don't want them to look it up and find the town. It'd be creepy. So then we were just hanging out, watching a movie, and it was like 5:45 or 6 o'clock. Okay, let me back up. Remember in the first one where I said that he got off the phone like at 8 o'clock and said he was going to go to bed, and I thought that was so weird? Okay, so this is where it comes in. It was like 5:45 or 6 o'clock. And he's like, well, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go to my hotel. And I was like, what? This is like early and you're going to your hotel? Do you not like me? Like, all these thoughts were running through my head. Meanwhile, what was going through your head? What was your reasoning?
Now, I got up early for work, and I would get up earlier than necessary to do things like a bit of scripture study, taking my sweet time preparing instead of rushing to get ready for work. And so I'd also go to bed early. And so that was one factor. Another was, okay, I've come to this lady's house in some other town, and I don't want to impose. I mean, she's got her little child, they've got their routine. I don't want to be hanging around while they're trying to go through dinner and their bedtime routine. So, 6 o'clock, all right, I'm going to leave you to your devices and go head back. I don't want to come off as some guy that comes and then just sort of clings onto the house as long as I can.
And didn't you have to call your family too? Or you didn't? Ooh. Are we still on?
Show capture device and stop recording button.
Okay. Didn't you have to call your family too and tell them?
Yeah, I called them and talked to Bragg.
So, meanwhile, I was thinking, man, he's leaving early, like 6 o'clock. I wasn't expecting it. He's going to go back to his hotel, and then I'm going to get this text message or phone call in the morning, or neither, that says,
Just vanish.
that would be horrible. Not like you, but anyways, that would say, hey, I'm leaving. I got to go back to do this, blah, blah, blah. Anyways.
Did we bring that up in the last video? So I was on the honor guard at the time, and I was on call over the weekend. And there's always something to do on the weekend at honor guard, but I really needed to go see this person. So I drove up, and every day I was up there, I was hoping I didn't get some obnoxious text that said, we need you to come and carry this veteran's casket or do something else.
Shoot the guns that scare the dogs.
That's
That's a story for another day. But, so I was like, okay, he's probably just going to, like, tell me he has to go back. Well, that didn't happen.
Thankfully and uncharacteristically.
I think we ended up texting a little bit because I don't even know. But anyways, so, yeah. I ended up cleaning my house some. And then the next morning, he came over like at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh, blah, groggy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, 8 o'clock, man. I must have slept in and wasted some time.
No,
Better
I
start
think
my
he
day.
wasted time. I was the one who slept in.
I'm saying from my perspective, if it's 8 in the morning, at the time that for me, that was like, wow. I'm sure getting a late start today.
Even if you like sleep until 8 o'clock now, I'm like, oh, are you sick? Do I need to call the doctor or something? Maybe an Uber to drive you to see a doctor. So then we had breakfast, and I think he bought himself McDonald's. I don't even know, but I made myself a smoothie, and then I spilled it all over the counter, all over the stove. Anyways, so that day we just kind of hung out, and him and my son were getting along, you know, like my kid was not afraid of him. And so I was like, hey, can you occupy him while I go get ready? Because we were going to go to a birthday party. And I could still hear them. I think they went to play on the playground. But I opened the window so I could still hear them. And there was like no tears from my kid. Nothing. Which made me so happy. I was like, oh, yeah. Anyways, he never cried with him. But, so we were going to go to this birthday party that I was invited to take my son to. But then my mom called me, and she's like, hey, I will take your kid so you and James can hang out. So we went and got cheeseburgers from Sonic. And then, I think it was cheeseburgers. I don't know. We actually went to Sonic, and they put meat on your burger.
That's another one.
So then we just hung out and talked, and then my son came back, and we all played outside, and I made this cream cheese chicken with black beans. And maybe I should make that soon. Maybe the kids would eat it. Anyways.
Samuel would.
That's like the first meal I made for him. And then we just kind of hung out, and it was my dad's birthday. So we went over to my parents' house later that night, and I was like, okay, my family's kind of crazy, probably a lot louder than his. This will be a test. Is he going to stick around? What did you think of that day?
I'll be honest, most of what I remember was playing with the eldest at the playground and the dinner that you made with the cream cheese and black beans.
And we ate chocolate cake that my mom had made for my dad, and we hung out at my parents'. And then we went back to my house.
I remember being at your parents', but I don't remember anything that happened.
I think it was kind of loud. Well, loud compared to your
No.
house.
I take it back. I do remember one thing that happened. The introduction of Pongo.
Yes.
She had talked previously about...
Pongo! He's sleeping. Or he's eating. I don't know.
She talked previously about this wonderful dog of hers that had been with her through tough times. And he was in the backyard of her parents' house because she couldn't have pet animals where she lived. So she goes to the back door, she opens it, picks him up, and walks in with this writhing, wriggling...
Where is he?
He's probably sleeping on her bed.
Pongo, want a cookie?
You don't have a cookie for him. This hateful thing that looked like it was going to break her arms at any given moment so that he could streak through the wall. He is slightly more tame now.
Slightly.
When I was watching him, I was like, this hateful... And she had this big beaming smile on her face. I'm like, this hateful thing is your best pal? I can see his eyes.
Did he bark at you at all?
I don't remember him doing it offhand, but I would be surprised if he did.
No, I don't think he did because my dad was
Oh,
there.
he's right on the couch.
Come
He's
here.
just laying there ignoring us like a fool.
Get the dumb thing.
You're going to be on TV. He's not moving as much right now.
No, not nearly. But this is the thing. Say hi, Pongo. Look at the camera, Pongo.
But if you picture a boiled hot dog between your fingertips and you just wiggle it like that, that's what he was doing, but with legs and arms.
And his tail was wagging. But yeah, I don't think he barked at you because my dad was there. So he got to meet Pongo. And then we went back to my apartment. And then a little bit later, he went back to his hotel. And it was not 6 o'clock this time. So then the next morning, we got up and we went to church. And
She had a lovely dress on.
I don't even know what I wore that day.
It was your like tannish off-white with the black frill and the little black polka dots on it.
I wonder if I even still have it. So then we went to church. And then we went back to my house. And we just kind of hung out a little bit. And I think, wasn't your plan originally to leave right after church pretty much?
Yeah.
And that did not happen until like 2 hours later. So meanwhile, while he was driving home, I was sleeping. Because I like to take naps, even still.
I like to take naps too, but I'd get fired if I did.
Every time you try to take one at home. So then, what else do we want to talk about? Oh yeah, so then we started like these.
Hold on, before we go too far forward, I have to make the note that when we were at church, I can remember pretty clearly sitting there in the pew. Our now eldest was doing his little 2-year-old things, and you were holding someone else's baby because that's what happens at church sometimes, is babies get passed around amongst women. And I was sitting there, and it was like I was suddenly inserted into a family that needed me, that didn't have me, and all I had was myself. I didn't have the family anymore.
Oh yeah, so like during church he would like do stuff to my hair and put his arm around me, stuff like that. And so my mom leaned over at one point and she's like, "Hey, I think James likes you." And I'm like, Didn't need to tell me that twice. Anyways, so then what time are we at on this?
Show capture 1.19.
About
Show
20
capture
minutes.
stop recording button.
Oh wow.
Show stop recording
Anyways.
button.
How long was the last one?
8.
Oh,
but this is kind of fun. So then, he goes to bed early. Well, his early nights of going to bed pretty much ended at that visit because through our engagement, we would stay up on the phone and talk because that's what we did. I don't know. And so then it was close to Christmas time, and we were talking about what we were going to do for Christmas. And he had plans to go visit his family, and my family had plans to go visit one of my aunts. But for us to go, it would have been like, for me and my son to go, we would have had to take 2 vehicles or be really, really cramped into a car. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So him and I kind of joked about, oh, wouldn't it be great if I could go with you to see your family? And then a few days later, I don't even know why you weren't at work, but you weren't at work one afternoon. And so we were talking, and you're like, what if you were able to come? And so then, like...
Stopped being a joke.
It stopped being a joke, yeah. And I talked to my dad about it because I'm like, would I be crazy? And my dad's like, well, if you feel like it, then go. So we went out to meet his family, and this is where we are going to stop until next video. Unless you want to continue.
No, that's a good stopping point.
So
There are
now,
lots of cool stories for that one.
yes, it's going to be a long one as well. And I did not take Pongo with me because that would not have been good. But anyways, until next time, you can be in suspense about me meeting his family.